Fear is a powerful emotion, one that can paralyze us, cloud our judgment, and prevent us from living fully. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or even the fear of death, these anxieties often stand in the way of our happiness and personal growth. But what if you could transform your fear into a source of strength and wisdom? The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless strategies for overcoming fear, enabling you to face life's challenges with courage and resilience. In this video, we'll explore how you can use Stoic principles to conquer your fears and live a more empowered, fearless life. Number 1. Understand the nature of fear. The first step in overcoming fear is understanding its nature. The Stoics taught that fear arises not from the external events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. In other words, it's not the situation that frightens us, but our perception of it. For example, you might fear public speaking because you believe that making a mistake will lead to embarrassment or failure. However, the event itself, speaking in front of others, is neutral. The fear comes from the meaning you attach to it. Recognizing this helps you to see that fear is often a product of your thoughts and beliefs rather than an inherent aspect of reality. By examining and challenging these beliefs, you can begin to diminish the power that fear holds over you. This doesn't mean that the fear will disappear entirely, but that you can start to control how much influence it has on your actions. Stoic mindfulness encourages you to observe your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. When you notice fear arising, take a step back and question the thoughts driving it. Ask yourself, is this fear based on reality, or is it a projection of my imagination? What is the worst that could happen, and could I handle it? This practice helps to demystify fear, reducing its intensity and making it more manageable. Number 2. Focus on what you can control. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which divides the world into things we can control and things we cannot. Fear often stems from worrying about outcomes or situations that are beyond our control, things like the opinions of others, the actions of those around us, or the unpredictability of the future. To overcome fear, shift your focus to what is within your control: your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. When faced with a fearful situation, ask yourself, what aspects of this can I influence? Focus your energy on those areas. For example, if you fear a job interview, you can't control whether you'll get the job, but you can control how well you prepare, your attitude during the interview, and how you present yourself. By concentrating on what you can control, you reduce the feeling of helplessness that often accompanies fear. You also empower yourself to take constructive action, rather than being paralyzed by anxiety. This shift in focus is a powerful way to regain a sense of agency and calm in the face of fear. Number 3. Practice voluntary discomfort. The Stoics believed that one of the most effective ways to overcome fear is to practice voluntary discomfort. This involves deliberately exposing yourself to situations that challenge your comfort zone, thereby reducing your sensitivity to fear and building mental resilience. For example, if you fear rejection, practice putting yourself in situations where rejection is a possibility. This could be as simple as asking for a discount at a store or striking up a conversation with a stranger. The goal is not to invite failure, but to become comfortable with the possibility of it. Over time, you'll find that the fear of rejection diminishes, as you realize that it's not as catastrophic as your mind makes it out to be. Similarly, if you fear discomfort or hardship, try incorporating small challenges into your daily routine. This might include taking cold showers, fasting, or engaging in strenuous physical activity. These practices help to toughen your mind, making you more resilient to fear in other areas of your life. The key to this practice is consistency. By regularly facing discomfort, you train your mind to see fear as something that can be managed and overcome, rather than something to be avoided at all costs. Number 4. Reframe your perspective. Reframing your perspective is another powerful Stoic technique for overcoming fear. The Stoics believed that we have the ability to choose how we interpret and respond to situations. By changing the way you think about a fearful situation, you can change the way you feel about it. For example, instead of viewing a challenging situation as a threat, try to see it as an opportunity for growth. If you fear failure, reframe it as a learning experience, a necessary step on the path to success. If you fear uncertainty, see it as an opportunity to practice adaptability and resilience. This shift in perspective helps to reduce the emotional intensity of fear, making it easier to approach the situation with a calm, rational mindset. Another effective reframing technique is to focus on the present moment. Fear often stems from worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, things that are beyond our control. By bringing your attention back to the present, you can ground yourself in what is real and tangible, rather than getting lost in imagined scenarios. Mindfulness practices, such as deep breathing or meditation, can help you stay centered in the present, reducing the grip of fear. Number 5. Accept the worst-case scenario. One of the most effective Stoic strategies for overcoming fear is to confront the worst-case scenario head-on. The Stoics believed that by imagining and accepting the worst possible outcome, you can reduce the power that fear has over you. Take a moment to consider the thing you fear most. What is the worst that could happen? Imagine it in detail. What would it look like, feel like, and how would it impact your life? Then ask yourself, could I handle this? What would I do if it happened? By fully confronting the worst-case scenario, you strip it of its ability to terrify you. You may realize that even the worst outcome is not as devastating as you imagined, and that you have the strength to endure it. This practice doesn't mean that you should become fatalistic or resigned to negative outcomes. Instead, it's about mentally preparing yourself for all possibilities, so that you can face the future with greater confidence and less fear. When you've already accepted the worst, you're free to focus on doing your best, without being paralyzed by what might go wrong. Number 6. Cultivate courage through action. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to take action despite it. The Stoics emphasized the importance of taking courageous action as a way to overcome fear. By confronting your fears head-on, you build the courage and confidence needed to handle future challenges. When you feel afraid, don't wait for the fear to pass before taking action. Instead, take small steps toward confronting the fear. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group, then gradually increase the audience size as you become more comfortable. If you fear change, take small steps toward embracing it, such as trying a new hobby or exploring a new place. Each time you take action in the face of fear, you weaken its hold on you. You prove to yourself that you are capable of handling difficult situations and that fear doesn't have to dictate your actions. Over time, this practice of courageous action helps to build a stronger, more resilient mindset, where fear becomes a signal to grow rather than a barrier to overcome. Number 7. Remember the impermanence of all things. The Stoics taught that everything in life is impermanent. Our possessions, our relationships, our successes, and even our fears. Understanding and accepting this impermanence can help to alleviate fear, as it reminds us that whatever we're afraid of is temporary and will eventually pass. When you find yourself gripped by fear, remind yourself that the situation is not permanent. The discomfort, the uncertainty, the challenge, these things will pass, just as all things do. This perspective helps to put fear into context, making it seem less overwhelming. Additionally, reflecting on impermanence can help you to appreciate the present moment, rather than being consumed by fear of the future. By focusing on what is within your control right now, and accepting that everything is in a state of flux, you can approach life's challenges with a greater sense of calm and acceptance. Number 8. Strengthen your inner virtue. The Stoics believed that our true strength comes from within, from our character and our commitment to living a virtuous life. When you focus on cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, You build an inner resilience that helps to diminish fear. Instead of fearing what might happen in the external world, concentrate on developing your inner virtues. Ask yourself, am I acting with integrity? Am I making decisions based on wisdom and justice? Am I maintaining self-control in the face of challenges? By prioritizing these inner qualities, you shift your focus from the external sources of fear to your own inner strength. This doesn't mean that you will never feel fear, but that you will have a strong foundation to stand on when fear arises. The more you cultivate your virtues, the more resilient you become, and the less power fear has over you. Your inner strength becomes a source of courage and stability, enabling you to face life's challenges with confidence and grace. Number 9. Use fear as a guide for growth. The Stoics saw fear not as something to be avoided, but as an opportunity for growth. Fear often points to areas of our lives where we need to develop greater strength, understanding, or acceptance. By using fear as a guide, you can identify these areas and work on improving them. When you experience fear, ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? What area of my life does it highlight, and how can I grow in that area? For example, if you fear failure, it might be a sign that you need to work on accepting imperfection and developing resilience. If you fear conflict, it might be an opportunity to practice assertiveness and communication skills. By reframing fear as a teacher, you transform it from a barrier into a pathway for personal growth. Instead of running from fear, you can embrace it as a valuable part of your journey toward becoming a stronger, more capable person. Number 10. Accept death as a part of life. One of the most profound fears that many people struggle with is the fear of death. The Stoics, however, viewed death as a natural part of life, something to be accepted rather than feared. By coming to terms with your mortality, you can free yourself from the existential fear that often looms in the background of your life. The Stoics practiced memento mori, the reflection on death, as a way to keep their priorities in perspective. By regularly contemplating your own mortality, you remind yourself that life is fleeting, and that what truly matters is how you live each day. This practice encourages you to focus on living virtuously and meaningfully, rather than being consumed by the fear of what might happen after death. Accepting death doesn't mean you become indifferent to life. On the contrary, it deepens your appreciation for the time you have, motivating you to live fully and authentically. When you no longer fear death, you are free to live without the constraints of existential anxiety, embracing life with greater courage and purpose. Using Stoic principles to overcome fear offers a powerful and practical approach to living with greater courage and resilience. By understanding the nature of fear, focusing on what you can control, practicing voluntary discomfort, and reframing your perspective, you can begin to diminish fear's hold on your life. Accepting the worst-case scenario, cultivating courage through action, and remembering the impermanence of all things further strengthen your ability to face challenges with confidence. By strengthening your inner virtue, using fear as a guide for growth, and accepting death as a natural part of life, you can build a life that is not only free from the paralyzing effects of fear, but is also enriched with purpose and meaning. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how Stoic practices have helped you overcome fear in your own life. Share your experiences and questions in the comments below. Stay tuned for more videos on the intersection of philosophy and personal growth. Take care, and keep striving for a life of courage and resilience.